We're really glad, Rick and I, to be here today to present the method that our committee chose to integrate the seniority list. We first looked at our Delta seniority list and did a simple comparison with the Northwest flight attendant base list and used the current seniority dates on both of those. We merged the two lists together without any adjustments to get a baseline. What we found out was that the Delta flight attendants had a rumor going around that was very strong that said that, oh, those Northwest flight attendants are so senior. But actually, when we did this comparison, it was just the contrary. We discovered that the Delta flight attendants were actually ahead of the Northwest flight attendants by a little bit, and we are actually more senior than they are. In our first chart that we have available for you to look at, which is called the average years of service, what we did is take the company and break it, each one, the Northwest as well as the Delta, break it down into 5% buckets, compared the years of service with both sides, and found out that the Delta average seniority was 18.77 years, and with the Northwest, the average seniority came in at 18.61, just a little bit below, but again, the Delta flight attendants are more senior than the Northwest flight attendants. So that rumor that's been going around, I guess we'll have to just put that one to bed.
When we first started this process, I took a look at the Northwest list as well as the Delta list, and I took apart each year, and I saw that the most senior Northwest person was hired in 1951, and this went all the way, hiring pattern all the way down to 2008. So you see on this next chart, you'll see the numbers that were hired in each year for each of the respective carriers. You'll notice that the hiring patterns were pretty similar, although Delta did hire more people in certain years than Northwest did, and of course there's more people remaining in these years by sheer numbers because we are the larger group. We won't spend a lot of time talking about what we looked at or rejected, other than to say that reviewing law and arbitration decisions, we came to accept the premise that this is a merger of equal carriers. Northwest is smaller than Delta, and our brand is surviving and much of our management is remaining. But both carriers were on similar economic footing, bringing valuable routes, equipment, and opportunities for growth and job security. We concluded that we needed to find an integration method that did not give one group an unfair advantage over the other. Any other approach would be likely to be rejected as unfair and inequitable if we ended up in arbitration.
We decided that the fairest method of merging our lists was to do it based on seniority or length of flight attendant service. Some people call it date of hire, but we think that that's a bit confusing. Our date of hire or our employment date, the date that's on our ID, is not always the same as our seniority date. Take me, for instance. If you look at the ID down here at the bottom, it does have date of hire. It says the day, month, and the year that I began my work with Delta Airlines. Actually, I started on the ramp in Miami in the freight department, so that would be my first day on the job. Later in my career, I transferred to in-flight service, went to initial training to be a flight attendant, and upon graduating with my class, that was established as my seniority date. Now, Rick, you were actually a little different from me because you started with Pan Am.
That's right, Spencer. I came from Pan Am, and of course my employment date is different than my seniority date as well. My seniority date reflects my integrated seniority after the integration process that took place after the Pan Am acquisition, and I was slotted into the Delta seniority list.
Now, we know that Delta and Northwest don't accrue seniority in the same way, particularly during the period of initial training.
At Northwest, flight attendant seniority begins to accrue on the day that they enter flight attendant training. They do not get any credit for company service. They also have some group of flight attendants that came to the company through other mergers, such as the Republic flight attendants, and they have their seniority adjusted because of the arbitration decision.